World of Warcraft has been around for double-digit years. That's insane for modern video games. And I have to ask myself, why are people still playing this game? And I think part of the reason is because of its music. How does the music of World of Warcraft influence the experience and make people want to come back? And why does World of Warcraft's music capture their hearts and keep them invested in this game year after year after year? Let's go on a musical tour of sorts and discover some regions in World of Warcraft and explore why this particular music is still captivating audiences to this day. First up was, of course, the home of the Alliance, Stormwind. Stormwind really, truly has a sublime soundtrack. There's a quality in Stormwind that's really phenomenal. Everything about this is very heroic and majestic. You have a beautiful choir moving in unison movement together. The strings let us know that we're in a place of regality, a place of majesty, a place protected by the Alliance. A little bit of melancholy in those strings either way. And the horns, when they thrust in like that, they let us know that we're in a place of military might that will not be toppled. I like this slow build up here. Really does feel like the homeland of the Alliance, you know? And then interestingly to me, the second track that I hear in Stormwind is actually quite sad. It feels like it's part of a battle, and perhaps that's something to do with Battle for Azeroth, and maybe I don't know, like how the people and the denizens of Stormwind are dealing with the atrocities and dangers that the Horde are providing. I don't know what's going on in the story at this point, honestly. But having low men like that is a really, really wonderful thing, and it makes us feel really rooted into the ground. That plaintive tenor over top. This feels like the procession of a king. Praying for a king. Praying for the Alliance. You know? There is a bit of danger in the music, of course. It doesn't always make the Alliance seem like it's in the best light, though, which is kind of surprising and a little interesting to me, too. The melodies are not bright, per se. They're quite gruff, almost. But they're always determined and focused. Especially when we use trumpets and horns and things. Now we obviously had to go to Grizzly Hills. I may just let this one play out, but realistically probably not. I can never just shut up. What I love about Grizzly Hills is the way that it sounds. The nickel harpa, it sounds homey, it sounds inviting, it sounds warm, it sounds old, it sounds reflective. It feels like an oasis of peace in a place like Northrend that is otherwise kind of dangerous. You can't help but smile and feel like you're being embraced by a loving dwarf or a peaceful man with a giant beard and mutton chops, asking you to come down and have a pint with him. And I think a lot of video game composition is sometimes afraid of really giving us simple pared down pieces like this. It's so pretty. You get a beautiful soft clarinet that comes in. Feels so warm. The clarinet itself is such a bright, warm woodwind sound. And here we are in the middle of the woods. And probably the most beautiful region in World of Warcraft, I would say. It's hearty and elegant in a very fireside kind of way. Beautiful vibrato and what I believe is a bassoon. And Grizzly Hills music isn't afraid to stretch things out. It's not afraid to extend musical ideas and melodic phrases. It feels improvisatory almost. It feels almost like your soul is calling out. I know that sounds cheesy, but I do think it's true. The way the strings come in, it's so inviting. And it really does feel like home. Seeing someone you care for after a really long time and looking at them being like, we've been through something together. The Howling Fjord is another prime example of this. This feeling of belonging almost. It's less inviting than Grizzly Hills. But what it lacks in inviting feeling and invitation, it makes up for in the way that it holds us against these huge mountain peaks. Long sustained notes, almost feeling like they are the mountains themselves inviting us to come be a part of them. Sweeping vistas and fresh snow on the ground, if you will. Long sustained horns, beautiful flute, dancing melodically. There's a real educational quality in Dairolan where it really feels like we are in the home of thought, in the home of deep thinking. It's a place of learned people that all gather to try to make the world a better place, if you will. There's almost a gentle feeling of, come join us. We hope that you'll learn as much as we do. Aristocratic, but not necessarily stuck up. Just a home of intelligence and understanding and knowledge. Ugh, I fucking love High Mountains music. It's the perfect zone for me. It's true, there's very little to say about High Mountain. It's perfect. Especially this track. It's shockingly enthusiastic. And I think full of hope and joy, actually. Look how beautiful Sylvan Falls is. Look how beautiful our land is. Look how beautiful our streams and our fish and our trees and our mountains are. This was my first starting zone and it kind of ruined the game for me. These sweeping choirs with massive, massive horn movement. Stormheim is kind of the opposite. Stormheim lets you know that you're in a place of electricity. You hear the slamming lightning, the proud marching quality in these trumpets and drums and strings and horns. It feels like the home of Odin. A little bit of danger in some of these notes. Hushed humming. Letting you know that maybe not everything is as we think it is. The home of the gods, if you will. Repeated melodic patterns. You really know your place in this. Small and minuscule. Oh my god, that's Stratholme? Arthas. What did you do? It was incredible to see Stratholme. After reading the Arthas book and reading Arthas' complete story, seeing it burning still, all these years later, felt like I was watching a moment in video game history. And it left me kind of speechless. Almost a chill running up my back. It was really impressive to see it still burning. To know that Arthas had to make that choice in that moment. And that feeling continued as I moved into the Eversong Woods and saw the giant scar left by Arthas and the Scourge. That glorious cello. The pain and agony of the elves of Sylvanas. Oh, that cello. Arthas' invasion. This was a beautiful place before Arthas invaded. That distant singing, back there. The echoing hum, the echoing avals of maybe Sylvanas and that soprano singer. That's scar is huge. That was all from the Scourge. This was a very special moment for me to witness this place. I don't know why, it makes me like emotional because I read the book. I had literal goosebumps. Is that where they broke in? And then tragedy struck. Uh-oh, oh fuck. Last on this tour was Mists of Pandaria, which I've always been amazed by, and always was drawn to. And I have to say, it was worth experiencing. After so many years of knowing that this was a beloved expansion of World of Warcraft, exploring Mists of Pandaria and Pandaria itself and listening to this music. I've talked a lot about the instrumentation in Genshin Impact and how it uses traditional Chinese instruments, and I have to say that World of Warcraft did it first. And I didn't actually know that because I'd never stepped foot in Pandaria, so I'd never heard the music. But it was really impressive. Wow. There's so little to not like. Sweeping vistas, the Arhu. And even though Pandaria is a peaceful place, we're never too far away from a fast militaristic rhythm of war. It's the Arhu. And yet with these instruments, we feel the age here. We feel what it means to have seen many years pass. We know what it feels like to see many sunsets. There's a majesty in this music that is just really unrivaled and unmatched. I never feel a true sense of calm or peace when I'm traveling in, well, except for this piece, Mistfall Village, and of course the cow. This was actually a happy place. Oh, wow. Flutes matching sopranos and their rhythm and melody. This feels like a warm embrace. WoW has had an extremely long life, 19 years. I think that one of the reasons why it's sustained so long, of course the gameplay is the key component of that, but the world building, the ambiance, the music is what's really, I think, kept WoW ahead of the game, or at least in the game, I should say. There's something about this music that feels very profound. You really do feel kind of like you're stepping into history. Call it video game history, call it the history of Azeroth. Every region has something to say. And I think that's really beautiful. None of it's really generic. A lot of it is, most of it I would say, and there's so much more for me to hear, is well thought out, well crafted, well created, with an abundance of love and with an abundance of wanting to express what that world and what that environment feels like. Music is so great at making us feel connected to places, especially when it's ambient, because that ambient music is the music that's describing the location for a lot of times when we hear ambient music. And in the case of World of Warcraft, that stands true. If you ask any World of Warcraft player today, whether they're still playing or whether they haven't touched the game in years, I can guarantee that one of the things that they'll say is how meaningful the music is. So it was really nice to visit, and I'll probably be back again soon. Ah, what the fuck? Ew.